Our mission is to empower and nurture the unique and magnificent expression of the divine that is each of us. Because it is through that empowerment and nurturing that we all get to grow. And we get to grow supporting each other in our unique and divine way. And because I believe that empowerment and nurturing is so important, that leads to these three questions. What have you done to nurture yourself this week? What have you done to nurture another this week? And what has another done to nurture you this week? So what I'd like to do now is take a moment where you actually close your eyes, take a deep breath, and answer these questions for yourself. Take another deep breath and ask yourself, what have you done to nurture yourself this week? And answer that question. What have you done to nurture another this week? And answer that question. And what has another done to nurture you this week? And answer that question. And know that it takes all three, and that if you do not have answers to those questions right now, asking the questions brings it to your consciousness so that you can develop having this trinity of questions answered every day. Feeling nurtured, feeling nurturing, building community. And one of the ways in which we build our own nurturance is with what I call the identity prayer. And so, as I read this aloud, read this for yourself as well. I know that within myself, there is that life which is perfect, complete, divine. It was never born and cannot die, where it lives and is God. Within myself is the wholeness, peace, poise, and power of life. This life is health, it is abundance, it is love. There is one life. It is the life of God, and this is my life now. And so it is. Michael, please share with us the poem you brought for us this week. Before he does, I want to mention to Carol and Audrey that you guys, if you have a poem or a piece of prose that has meaning to you, please send it to me so that we can include it in one of these week's conversations. Because it's important that we share what has meaning for each of us. Michael.
Okay, thanks, Cliff. This evening I'm going to read a poem by Mary Oliver, and this poem is called Lines Written in the Days of Growing Darkness. And it's from her book, which was published last year, called A Thousand Days. Every year we have been witness to it, how the world descends into a rich mash in order that it may resume. And therefore, who would cry out to the petals on the ground to stay, knowing, as we must, how the vivacity of what was is married to the vitality of what will be. I don't say it's easy, but what else will do if the love one claims to have for the world be true? So let us go on, cheerfully enough, this and every crisping day, though the sun be swinging east, and the ponds be cold and black, and the sweets of the year be due. Thank you, Father.
Beautiful.
And so for me, I mean, I'll just start with my comments since I'm on the mic, and then I'll click off. But for me, this poem really resonated because, I mean, I love her work because, she's in this beautiful place where she has such wonderful observations of nature and natural processes and the cycles of the seasons. And so that's why I really love her work. And in this piece, I feel like she's talking about knowing that the winter's coming, excuse me, and that things are getting dark, and we're going into that inner place. And nonetheless, we don't want to cling to the beauty of summer and fall and just allow it to be, knowing that it has to go through that process to come back in full bloom in the spring with new life. So just in terms of our subject for tonight, our topic of letting go and holding on, I think it's just this continual process of letting go of things as they happen, not clinging to them, and then also being able to hold on to the memories of the beauty that you've experienced, and hold on to the anticipation of what we know is to come if we just honor the organic, natural processes of life.
Michael, thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, Pat.
As our topic for tonight is holding on and letting go, I'd like to start off by reading you some quotes. When you find yourself at the end of your rope, let go. Here's another quote. Your personal situation is not your final destination. Be brave, hold on, and continue strong. Here's another quote. Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it's letting go. And then we have, do not lose hold of your dreams or aspirations. If you do, you may still exist, but you have ceased to live. And then we have, we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so that we can have the life that is waiting for us. And then we have, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. And then we have, all the art of living lies in the fine mingling of letting go and holding on. And my last favorite quote is from Dr. Ernest Holmes. To abandon the truth in our hour of need is to not understand the truth. So here we have all these quotes, inspiring quotes, on holding on and on letting go. But how do you know? In any given moment when things are really tough, how do you know whether this is a moment to hold on or to let go? How do you know? Well, for me, and this is what we're going to talk about and open up the floor to, but first I'd like to tell you what it looks like to me. I have a saying for myself, that truth is only truth if it roots all the way down. And what I mean by that is there's only certain truths. There's not a lot of truths. There's only a couple. And one of them is that I am the wholeness, peace, poise, and power of life. That I am abundant. I am health. I am love. Now that's a truth that roots all the way down. So what I hold on to that. I hold on to that dearly. And so when I am thinking something, or the words are coming out of my mouth, or my beliefs or what I embody does not align with that truth, then it doesn't root. It's actually a lie. And so that is worth letting go of. It looks to me like in the basic fabric of the universe, in the basic fabric of everything, is built into it this sense of love, of goodness, that it's only our job to open up to it, to recognize that it exists. Everything we're doing, the real truth that's in the fabric of everything going on. Now, how do I know? How do I know that in the fabric of life itself is love? Well, one of the ways I know this is that every spiritual leader throughout history, everybody I've ever met who has gained some level of consciousness, the second they do, they also gain another level of connectedness, of love, of understanding. Now we have free will. So if this was totally a random situation, You would have people who were gaining high levels of consciousness and yet developing into a much eviler, what we would label as evil self. And that never happens. But the more conscious everybody becomes, the more they become loving. A friend of mine was telling me just yesterday that she killed a spider and felt terrible about it. She was trying to capture it and put it outside and felt terrible that she killed it. And she was laughing because she said 10 years ago, she wouldn't have thought twice about it. That it was only through her evolution that she actually cared about spiders in a way she never would have 10 years ago. And that's what's happening here. So it's actually built into the very fabric of our being that is only ours to awaken to, that love is the calling, that oneness and connectedness is the actual calling within us. And yet we are so easily distracted. I was at a vision quest, a Native American vision quest. I wasn't one of the people questing this particular time. There were other people up on the hill doing that. I was at the fire in support. And when you support a vision quest, your job is to focus on the fire, and then the fire feeds the questers. All the meditation, all the attention, everything is all about pure light going through the fire to the questers. And at a particular time in the middle of the night, all of a sudden there were people being very raucous behind me and being irreverent to what was going on at the fire. And I turned to look at them, and the second I did, the shaman said to me, "Now you're not looking at the fire." And we do that all the time. We see others act out, and we respond to them, and the second we do, we're no longer looking at the fire. We have lost our focus. I have lost my focus. The second I turn to look at them, instead of keeping my eyes on the fire. And that's what's here for us. That's what's capable for us. That's what's worth holding on to, is our focus on the fire and letting go of anything superfluous to that. And so when it comes to the way I create in life, I notice that those creations that have meaning for me and passion, those creations that touch me deep inside, they are filled with this connectedness and oneness. They create out of that, and it is a very moving thing for me to create out of that place. But because we have free will, we get to be unconscious. Not once we've been conscious. I can't go backwards. I don't think anybody can. Once your eyes are open, it's very difficult to then try to say and really believe you can't see that anymore. One of the things we're taught in practitioner training, in the first year of practitioner training, you get into treating for other people. Treatment is for those of you that don't know, it's a form of prayer. And somebody comes to you and they ask you to pray for something. And we're taught in Prac 1 to ask the question, well, if you got that, what would that give you? So for instance, if somebody came to me and said, please pray for me to have a new car. And I said, well, if you had a new car, what would that give you? Well, it would give me transportation so I could get to work. Well, if you had transportation to get to work, what would that give you? Well, it would give me financial security and a sense of safety. So I said, so what you really want is financial security and a sense of safety. And they go, yes. And then you treat for that. And then whether they get the car or not, the real deal is they wind up with a sense of security and a sense of safety. And so you're always, and because how that comes about could be a myriad of ways. For instance, they could win the lottery and then they don't even need to go to work, right? Or who knows what could happen. So when we're looking at what to hold on to and what to let go of, we want to make sure that we get down to the root. We want to be asking ourselves, is this the true root truth for us? Or is there something deeper that is worth holding on to? And is this simply part of the process worth letting go of? Am I making sense here? Raise your hand if I'm making sense here. Good, good, good. It all comes back to For me, the Ernest Holmes statement, to abandon the truth in our hour of need is to not understand the truth. And the truth is that we are powerful, creative, spiritual beings. We are of wholeness, peace, poise, and power. We are of abundance, health, and love. Anything that contradicts that is absolutely worth letting go of. Anything that is in complete alignment with that, irregardless of circumstance. Too many people judge going after a goal on the circumstance of how hard it is or how easy it is. The easiest thing in the world may not be in alignment with your truth. The hardest thing in the world might be. Do not use your circumstance to know your truth. Use what you know as your root to know your truth. And so if you'll close your eyes, we'll do a short meditation.